Have you noticed there's a new wave of cat memes? Last year, as I mindlessly scrolled through the algo sludge, I started to notice these cats that kept popping up. Crunchy cat, Huh cat, Glorp, the alien cat. Ooh, yeah, these are cat memes, a staple of internet culture, but these cat memes feel different than the pre-pandemic memes of the 2010s, where everything was structured and symbolic. These cat memes are just funny cats, which reminds me of the 2000s internet, where people just posted images and videos of funny cats. I created this infograph to categorize these three waves of cat memes. However, this chart isn't the full picture. Cat memes have evolved based on our culture and the sites of each era. Maybe by charting the course of cat memes, we could see the direction our culture is moving in. To do this, we need to look at the entire history of cat memes. Let's define what a cat meme is. First of all, it needs to be about cats. It could be a specific cat, an image or video of a cat, or what about this? This is not a cat, it's a drawing of a cat. But we'll count drawings and any cat-like characters here. This includes any fictional cat characters. Let's also include any ideas related to the concept of cats in general, like the cat distribution system. Also for this video, I'm just going to be counting domestic cats, Felis catus. There's definitely memes for large cats, but when people think of cat memes, they're usually thinking of the ones that can't eat you, although not for lack of trying. A cat meme also needs to be a meme. A lot of people use meme to just mean like an internet joke, but I'm going to be working on a definition of memes that relates to the word gene and genetics. A meme is an idea that is spread from person to person, becoming part of the culture. Memes are more mimetic if they're easily reproduced, mutated, and shared. We're going to scale the size of each meme based on their mimetic peak using Google Trends. Unfortunately, Google Trends doesn't give us actual numbers to work with, so we'll need a baseline to compare every cat meme to. I decided to use Icon Has Cheeseburger as our baseline. To find the popularity of a cat meme, we just need to take the meme's peak and divide it by the cheeseburger peak to find the meme's cheeseburger index. For example, Huh Cat hit a popularity of 15 compared to cheeseburger, so we do 15 over 100 to find a score of 0.15. Nyan Cat had an even higher rating, lowering cheeseburger's peak to 23, so we do 100 over 23 to find a cheeseburger index of 4.35. Now that's a popular meme. I've gone ahead and calculated all of the post-2004 cat memes that will be featured in this video, and I'll scale them here on my timeline based on the results. But first, we'll need to go back before 2004 to uncover some ancient cat memes from the dawn of the internet. Back in the 80s and into the 90s, internet communities were contained in text-based platforms like bulletin board systems, Usenet newsgroups, and eventually forums. Forums worked by letting users create their own topic posts that anyone could reply to. Unlike a chat room, this structure created some permanence to the posts, enabling communities to grow, each with their own customs, inside jokes, and shared culture. In 1999, the Japanese forum 2channel was launched and quickly became one of the largest forums due to its lax moderation and ability to avoid censorship by hosting the servers in the US. 2channel users developed their own culture and in-jokes, and despite the text-based restrictions, they used ASCII symbols to create art and characters. On older Japanese forums, there was this bear-like character who had a catchphrase that translates to, "You guys have too much spare time." On 2channel, this character evolved to have pointy ears and a cat face, and a new catchphrase responding to, "You guys have too much spare time," with "Omae Mona," which translates roughly to, "Look who's talking." Mona is probably the first big internet cat meme. The character was adopted by 2channel as like a mascot and reposted and remixed into different situations. A whole cast of Mona characters were created with various degrees of rudeness and stereotyping. There was also this other character, Giko Neko, who might actually be older than Mona. Their catchphrase was, "You can go now." But it was kind of like a pun when it's written this way, so it's more like, "You can die now." While 2channel was influencing Japanese internet culture, the Something Awful forums emerged as a dominant source of internet culture in the United States. Much like 2channel, Something Awful fostered an environment where their users, the goons, which means something completely different these days, created and shared their own in-jokes, although it leaned more heavily into image-based humor. In 2001, Lowtax, the infamous creator of the site, added some Visual Basic codes that users could type in a macro command that would automatically post an image. These were called image macros. As far as I know, we were one of the first forums, if not the first forum, to do this. This makes me very sad, and ashamed to admit that there's a possibility that we are responsible for the wasteland of internet meme shit we currently live in. Memes at this time were reposted over and over and over again in different threads. Cats quickly became a great source for image macros. One joke at the time, for example, was invisible bike, which prompted other users to post cat photos with invisible objects. I think the reason why cat memes became so popular is that the type of person who would stay at home and post all day was more likely to have a chill cat to hang out with. Meanwhile, on a spin-off of 2chan, one user posted a photo of their very long cat named Shiroi. The cat quickly got the nickname Nobiru, meaning stretch, and was photoshopped into a bunch of different variations. Nobiru spread to the English internet where it was called Longcat. Later, an anonymous user posted a photo of Longcat's arch nemesis. Happy Cat also became a popular meme on forums because look how happy they look. I've seen some claims that Happy Cat originally came from this Russian pet food company, but I think it's just the origin of the name Happy Cat. I traced back the original source of the photo to this Russian cat kennel listing for British Shorthairs, which shows multiple photos of Happy Cat, including their family. Another petri dish of early internet memes was the site You're the Man Now Dog. This site allowed users to create their own mini-sites and provided tools to mix audio and pictures or GIFs. Who knew that giving people fun tools to create and remix would make a fun platform that people would want to use? A lot of internet humor at the time was edgy for the sake of being edgy, and I don't want to glaze past that. At one point, there was a You're the Man Now Dog site, which featured an animal abuse video set to Doom music. It was an edgy joke about the ending to Doom, where Doom Guy's pet rabbit is killed. One user, Titanium Gecko, felt like this was crossing the line. They looked at all the other users that had rated the site 5 stars and rated all of their sites 1 star. In response, one user, Spots, replied that they just gave the site 5 stars because of the Doom music. Titanium Gecko responded, nothing justifies 5ing burning kittens. Not even Doom music. Not even Doom music was repeated and became its own meme with Happy Cat. NEDM. Also, the uploader and creator of the abuse video were tracked down and arrested by the Belgian police. Another popular meme at the time was called Stalker Cat, which eventually started to be named Ceiling Cat. The original image had been circulating on image boards for a while, but it really started to spread once it was posted on You're the Man Now Dog with the caption, Ceiling Cat is watching you. Sin. Paired with Eamon Tobin music for some reason. That's cool. Ceiling Cat quickly rose to being a godlike cat figure in internet culture, although there's a theory that Ceiling Cat is a false prophet, and this photo was actually taken of the wall. But no, on a thread in 2012, Something Awful user Dr. Querix claimed to know Ceiling Cat's owner and posted another view proving that Ceiling Cat was in fact in the ceiling. They also said, I would post other pictures of him, but I would have to write something funny on them first, and then never posted any other photos. But then I noticed that Dr. Querix was still posting to the Something Awful forums to this day, so I decided to send them a DM. And I had to pay $10 to send DMs on the Something Awful forums for some reason. I was wondering if you still have other pictures of Ceiling Cat that you would be willing to share. I then realized after sending that my profile looked like this. One day later, I got a reply. Hello, let me see if I still have those other ones. My claim to fame is that those first 2 pictures have no business still existing since they were, just 2 random frames in a webcam in the new picture every 10 seconds era, but I was so excited she randomly put up a kitten that I saved them. Ceiling Cat's real name was Faden. It's cool to see that they already had that powerful energy, even as a kitten. Alright, I've put it off long enough. Something Awful user Mute was sick of low taxes moderation style and wanted to make a forum where he could talk about anime, so he decided to make his own site. 4chan was an image board, which was an English spin-off of 2chan, which was a spin-off of 2channel, and it followed the same moderation style of 2channel that made it popular, that being very, very little moderation or censorship, as well as keeping users anonymous. 4chan quickly became the gas station restroom door of the internet, but its chaotic nature made it a perfect petri dish for growing memes, even to this day. While most of 4chan's culture was based around the edgy comedy of the time, one trend seemed to counter that: lolcats. In the mid-2000s, 4chan users started a meme called Catterday, in which on Saturdays, users would spam the board with pictures of silly cats with funny text. This annoyed a lot of the edgy users, which was funny, so it became a good way of trolling people who thought that the internet was serious business. Is this still the case on 4chan? I decided to make a thread to test this out. As the lolcat meme spread, the captions of what the cats were saying became its own dialect, as described in the thesis. Icon has thesis? Linguistic analysis of lolspeak. Lion cat, serious cat, monorail cat. In 2007, a photo of Happy Cat with the caption, Icon has cheeseburger, was posted on the Something Awful forums. Eric Nakagawa and Kari Unabasami created a website based on this meme to catalog and capitalize off of all of the lolcats being posted. They eventually sold the site to Ben Huh, who grew it into a cheeseburger network of blogs. Wait, you can make money off of cat memes? These sites were built around user-generated content. It also had built-in tools for users to generate memes. Gone were the days of people making memes in Paint or Photoshop. These online meme generator tools standardized the fonts and formats of memes. Impact, top text, bottom text. At the end of the 2000s, video hosting became technologically feasible, allowing the spread of video-based memes. Back in the 80s, Charlie Schmidt created a video of his cat playing an N-Sonic Mirage synthesizer. Schmidt uploaded the video on his YouTube channel in 2008, originally titled Cool Cat. In 2009, Brad O'Farrell stumbled across this video and started using it as a meme template, where some fail video would happen and then Keyboard Cat would play them off, like it was a vaudeville bit. This play them off Keyboard Cat format spread. It was easy to take any new fail video and add Keyboard Cat at the end and create a new meme. Charlie Schmidt still makes videos and live streams daily on YouTube, making Keyboard Cat paintings. I actually bought one of his paintings. Look how sick that is. And hanging out with the latest Keyboard Cat. There's been a line of succession for Keyboard Cats. They also released a Key Cat meme coin, which we'll get to that. Other cat meme videos include the Kitty Cat Dance, the Mean Kitty Song, Surprised Kitty, Two Talking Cats, Maru, the cat who likes to jump in boxes, and Oh Long Johnson. Oh Long Johnson. Oh Long Johnson. I've been jumping around a lot in the 2000s because memes in this era tended to have a really long lifespan. Happy Cat went through a few completely different meme cycles over the course of this decade. The landscape of blogs and message boards at this time meant that memes survived by being reposted over and over and over and over again. But all of this was about to change. In the 2010s, the internet was going through a transformation. Social media sites like Facebook and Twitter were becoming the way most people interacted on the internet. Individual blogs were all coalesced into platforms like Tumblr. Christopher Torres started posting his webcomics, LOL comics, on Tumblr. One day he started doing a charity stream for Red Cross and was asking chat for ideas of things to sketch. Two different chatters suggested cat and Pop-Tart, so he sketched this creature based off of his Russian blue cat named Marty. Later, he created a pixel art version of the same creature and posted it on Tumblr under the name Pop-Tart Cat. Meanwhile, on a completely different part of the internet, Vocaloids were a growing community with artists making new and original songs for these virtual singers. Producer Daniel P created a song for Hatsune Miku called Nya 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 and uploaded it to Nico Nico Doga, which is a Japanese video sharing site. Nya is the onomatopoeia for the sound a cat makes in Japanese. In English, it's meow. My favorite onomatopoeia is the sound a duck makes, which in English is quack. In Japanese, it's gat gat, and in French, it's quack. I think the French win that one. In French, the sound a cat makes is nya 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 became its own meme with users creating remixes and covers. One cover was made by producer Momo P, who used a different vocal synth called Utao, which is similar to Vocaloid, but it's fully community managed and free for anyone to use. One of the first Utao voices was Momo Momone. Momo P's version of Nya 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 by Momo Momone caught the attention of user Sarah June, who decided to upload a video of the song with a GIF of Pop-Tart Cat. She titled the video Nyan Cat. Nyan Cat exploded in popularity. It was picked up by College Humor and G4 within days.
They toast well. Should try.
Did I get one? Thanks.
There's a Calico Crisp.
Shortly after, a user by the handle Hui decided to create a website called nyan.cat, which featured the GIF and the music. People were confused as to who actually made the original art, so Christopher Torres reached out to Hui and asked him to put credit on the website. Hui linked to Chris's original GIF, but then called it Nyan Cat's cousin. It seems like Hui was trying to steal Nyan Cat and convince everyone that he was the creator. Christopher and Hui then spoke on the phone. Hui wanted to make a paid Nyan Cat app, but Christopher was already working on his own Nyan Cat app. On a post on Tumblr, Chris describes the situation. Now it seems like he's listing the original 3 minds behind Nyan Cat as inspiration behind his creation of Nyan Cat, while trying to sound so humble, even going as far to say that he will be evolving the meme on his own with different variations. I don't feel like this is right on many levels, and it's downright disrespectful. He isn't trying to evolve a meme he didn't create. He's just covering his ass because ultimately, I didn't give him my approval. Later, Chris stated in an interview, "I've noticed people almost immediately creating their own apps or programs featuring my work without permission for their own financial gain. It's been really tough fighting these issues, but I filed a copyright for Nyan Cat, and hopefully that will help. Wish me luck." In June, the original video was hit with a DMCA takedown. Chris did not file this claim. It was a copyright troll on YouTube, common occurrence, but a wave of hate mail came his way anyway. Eventually, Chris managed to work with Danny Well and Sarah June to get the video back up. Nothing could take down Nyan Cat. 10 years later, Chris Torres will sell an NFT of Nyan Cat for 300 Ethereum, $580,000 at the time. And we'll get to that too. In 2010, a website called Dig was trying to democratize news feeds, letting users submit whatever links they want and then vote on what should hit the front page. However, a small section of power users managed to game the system and make their post always hit the top. In response, Dig launched a redesign of their website and started allowing for sponsored posts where sites like Gawker could pay Dig to get their links higher up on the feed. The user base absolutely hated this, and there was a great exodus to a newer, scrappier site that was doing pretty much the same thing. This site was called Reddit. A user base leaving one site for another after a terrible rebranding and a pay-to-win system. That sounds familiar. Reddit grew into more than just a news feed. It allowed users to create their own subreddits of whatever topic they wanted, and the democratic voting system would ensure that there would always be fresh, quality content at the top of the page, every day. No more browsing through forums of stale threads and shitposts, and the same memes posted over and over and over again. Reddit essentially replaced the forum communities with Reddit communities, and that changed what type of memes became popular. On forums, a meme survived if it was funny enough to be saved and then reposted by other users. On Reddit, memes needed to be constantly fresh. Any repost was heavily downvoted. Because of this, template-based memes started to thrive, like rage comics and advice animals. You'd have that mimetic hook of something that you recognize, but remixed in new and funny ways. Take Business Cat and Hipster Cat, for example. Anyone could take that template and then come up with some funny variation, and then boom, front page of r/advice animals. The karma system encouraged users to come up with the most mimetic ideas possible, and they were always on the lookout for the next big meme. Then, on September 22nd, 2012, Reddit user Cataliades posted a photo to r/pics, titled Meet Grumpy Cat. It's hard to overstate how popular Grumpy Cat is. She is by far the biggest cat meme with a cheeseburger index of 8.33. Grumpy Cat hit at the perfect time, just between the two cat meme waves of lolcats and template memes. She was primed for the growth of social media to become one of the first pet influencers. She also had a huge merchandising potential. Shirts, books, balloons, a guitar strap, grumpuccinos, shoes, tattoos, plushies, a movie where Grumpy Cat is voiced by Aubrey Plaza, a weather app, slot machines, cologne, a meme coin, which we'll get to that. Grumpy Cat did interviews with Anderson Cooper.
That was all the internet. We put her on reddit.com at first, and it just went viral from there, and she spread across YouTube, and it kept growing.
The Today Show in Australia. And even Forbes, for some reason.
So Grumpy, as an internet meme, I feel like you're in a unique position to comment on some of the larger trends that are changing our life. Do you think that the internet is a force for liberal progress, if you will, as evidenced by events like the Arab Spring, or whether that sort of digital utopianism is really just a naive canard that hides the internet's power to tighten the grip of totalitarianism through things like government surveillance and analysis of large data sets of personal information, as more is
Her net worth is estimated to be approaching $100 million, making her probably the richest cat in the world. although it could be close with Nala the cat, a newer pet influencer who has 4.5 million followers on Instagram, and Olivia Benson, Taylor Swift's cat, who has a higher net worth than Travis Kelce, who has won 3 Super Bowls. Those cats aren't memes in the way Grumpy Cat is, though. Grumpy Cat came from nowhere, blew up the internet, and hated every second of it. There will probably never be another cat meme like Grumpy Cat. Lil Bub was... Okay, wait. There's something we need to talk about. Do you know what Grumpy Cat's actual name is? Her name is Tartar Sauce, but it's not spelled correctly. It should be Tartar Sauce. There's a theory that Grumpy Cat's original name was a shortened version of a word used to degrade mentally disabled people, allegedly. In an interview with USA Today, Brian Bunsen, Cat Dailies, said that the reason for the name was, Grumpy Cat had speckled fur as a kitten, and my niece thought the cat looked like tartar sauce, so she wrote the name down as Tartar Sauce, and it stuck. Right. Look, I think it might be possible that, allegedly, they used that word to name Grumpy Cat from the start, but when Grumpy Cat started taking off, they realized that naming their cat who has a facial deformity after a rude word for disabled people might be considered a bad look. So they said it was short for Tartar Sauce instead, and then realized Tartar Sauce isn't spelled that way, so came up with a story, allegedly, in my opinion. I have no proof for this claim, I just always thought it was weird. Okay. Lil Bub, okay, but actually I do have proof. You see, dear viewer, I have a confession to make. I used to be a Redditor. And as sure as the narwhal bacons at midnight, I was there for a jackdaw as a crow. I was there for ice soap and the 2 a.m. chili recipe. And, dear viewer, I was there when Grumpy Cat hit the front page. And I recall that Grumpy Cat's name was not Tartar Sauce, but that other word. However, it looks like Cat Dailies has delisted all of his other posts. Thankfully, we can use the Wayback Machine, and yeah. Oh, even created a subreddit. And look at this video still up on their YouTube channel. To be fair, he did comment that the cat's name was Tartar Sauce just a couple days after the original post. So it is possible that the cat was named after Tartar Sauce, and this is just a coincidence. I don't know. I'm not trying to cancel Grumpy Cat. Even if she was named that, I don't think it was done out of malice. It was the early 2010s. It was a different time, kind of. But Grumpy Cat made you loads and loads of money. The least you could have done was given her a real name. Okay, let's move on. Lil Bub was another celebrity cat at the time. She reached an impressive cheeseburger score of 1.92. She even had her own manager who... Wait a minute. Is this the same guy that was managing Grumpy Cat? And Nyan Cat? And Keyboard Cat? Back in 2009, Ben Clark, aka Ben Lashes, was looking for his next venture after being the lead singer for a very 2000s power punk band called The Lashes. They're pretty good. He was talking to a family friend, Charles Schmidt, whose Keyboard Cat video is going viral. He said to Charles, "Wow, you must be rolling in the dough." And Charles responded, "What dough?" Ben helped Charles in copywriting Keyboard Cat and getting licensing deals for advertisements. He had become a meme manager. He started a firm called A Weird Movie and started signing other memes. Nyan Cat, Grumpy Cat, Success Kid, Disaster Girl, Doge, Harambe, and a bunch more. Recently, he started representing Cat. In 2013, Warner Bros. Released the game Scribblenauts Unlimited. It's a game where you can spawn any item you can think of to solve puzzles. The developers also included a bunch of memes as Easter eggs, including Keyboard Cat and Nyan Cat. However, they didn't license these memes to be used. Charlie Schmidt and Chris Torres successfully sued Warner Bros. Into paying them for using the memes that they created. In this case, copyright did help these creators protect their work from being stolen. However, in my opinion, copyright runs counter to the spirit of memes, which grow through being copied and spread. Most memes shared on the internet could be considered copyright infringement. Kia Cameron, a copyright attorney who has represented memes like Nyan Cat, has this to say. When the general public is using a meme and it's flourishing as a mode of expression, that's okay. That's the zeitgeist. When a commercial entity is doing it to shill some service, we're going after them, and we don't lose sleep over it. And it looks like Warner Bros. Still hasn't learned their lesson because they just recently used one of Film Cow's memes, Charlie the Unicorn, to show the game Multiverses. I think that creators of memes finding ways of monetizing their work and capitalizing off of their popularity is a good thing. And Ben Lashes seems to do a fairly good job at representing these creators while still allowing the memes to spread freely on the general internet. Anyways, let's fast forward to the 2020s for a bit. On November 6, 2023, the channel that originally posted the Nyan Cat video posted a new video titled Meow. The video linked to donations for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund as well as Jewish Voice for Peace. The story was quickly picked up by the media and, of course, drama accounts. Chris got another wave of hate over this on Twitter, X the everything app Blaze Your Glory, and in a panic responded, "This is 100% Sarah June using my likeness against my will. Fake news is spreading faster than the truth, sadly. Have been trying to resolve this since it was uploaded." Later, the original Nyan Cat video, with 200 million views, a piece of internet history, was taken down. Chris posted a new tweet. "Important announcement. The Nyan Cat video has been moved to an official YouTube page. Nyan Cat has always existed to bring happiness to people everywhere. Rainbow emoji." Sarah June updated the description of her channel with, "The meme you seek has been forcibly displaced by the copyright holder, Chris Torres." Obviously, we are wading into some charged discussions here, so let's try to look at both perspectives and be charitable. From Chris's perspective, Sarah is using my likeness against my will. The community notes read, "This Nyan Cat YouTube account has no relation with the original owner of the meme and was re-upload of the original creation." However, that's not true. Chris did not create Nyan Cat. Chris created Pop-Tart Cat. Sarah June created the meme of Nyan Cat by combining the art with the song nya 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 nya, titling it Nyan Cat, and having that video go viral. From Sarah's perspective, she is the creator of the original video, and she's allowed to use her personal channel for whatever she wants. In fact, before the Meow video, she had posted a short film she had created. Chris also alleges she tried to sell the account to a streaming service called Means TV. However, Sarah is a contributor to Means TV, so to me it seems more like she wanted to use her personal channel to promote her other project she was working on. Chris is legally allowed to take down the original Nyan Cat video as it does use his art, but personally, I think that was the wrong decision. Chris could have clarified the difference between his work and Sarah's channel without wielding his copyright and taking it down. Chris owes a lot of success to Sarah and the mimetic virality that comes with loose copyrights. Also, if we're going to start getting strict with copyright, I don't think you have the rights to use Pop-Tart's likeness in your NFTs. Most importantly, this is not Vaporwave. It's like an 80s synthwave outrun aesthetic. Vaporwave is a completely different thing, okay? I just have a feeling that this video takedown was to prevent controversy from affecting his NFT sales. Speaking of, while Chris Torres sold his Nyan Cat NFT, this prompted Ben Lashes into creating NFTs of all the other memes he represents, each to various degrees of success. One of his clients, Disaster Girl, sold her NFT for $500,000. Recently, Ben has expanded into the meme coin market, including Harambe, Success Kid, Keycat, Grumpy. He has no involvement with Dogecoin as that started way back in 2013. Interestingly, Nyan Cat is not doing a meme coin yet, although there's a few unofficial ones. It's kind of sad how many of Chris's tweets are just warnings about all the crypto scammers. Recently, another cat meme influencer, Uni, had to put out a statement saying that they weren't affiliated with this Uni-Cat meme coin that some random person made. The world of crypto is filled with scams and rug pulls, and there's plenty of coverage already out there of this topic. While I think it's good for creators to find ways of monetizing their memes, something just feels off to me about turning it into like an investment scheme. Let's be honest though, art turning into investment schemes is nothing new. What bothers me is that crypto just feels very predatory and contrary to the spirit of memes. Memes are meant to be shared and copied. They thrive with lax copyright enforcement. Crypto, on the other hand, only works through artificial scarcity. You'll be shocked to find out that when the Grumpy Cat coin launched, it peaked and then immediately plummeted. I don't want to say these are all rug pulls since I don't really have knowledge in how these things even work, but maybe someone should look into all these meme coins that Ben is creating. Although, it looks like there's no consequences for doing crypto rug pulls these days, so who cares? Anyways, we've gotten way too far ahead of ourselves in the timeline. Let's jump back to the mid-2010s when the internet was still fun. This was the peak of template-based memes. You had cats on Roombas, the heavy breathing cat. Cats were starting to become symbols used to represent emotions, like polite cat and crying cats. There was also Smudge the cat. In November of 2014, while cat memes were growing in popularity, Cat Fancy magazine was cancelled. Cat Fancy had been running since 1965. But the world had changed. The internet wasn't a niche community of nerds posting on forums anymore. It was the zeitgeist. It was new media. It was completely replacing how we communicate and share information. So where do we go from here? Well, I think that the meme waves have a lot in common with art waves. Think about it. First, you had the 2000s cat memes. These are like pieces of classical art. Their value is in their quality. What is the funniest cat you can find? Happy Cat's smile has as much mystery as the Mona Lisa. Then you have modern art. Modern art describes art in the mid-1900s, in which the focus was breaking down art into its bare essentials, much like template-based memes of the 2010s. But then memes started to get predictable and stale. People didn't want to just make the purest memes, they wanted to break apart what could be a meme. Memes were about to go postmodern. This was a weird time on the internet. Irony was the main source of comedy. Dat Boy isn't genuinely funny because it's a frog on a unicycle. No, it's ironically funny because it's so unfunny. Memes were now being born and then killed on day-to-day basis. Calendars were made to track the parade of memes coming and going, and in 2017, there were no cat memes. Seriously, I couldn't find a singular popular cat meme that peaked in 2017, besides the cat in the hat with a baseball bat, but we're really stretching the definition of a cat meme with that one. The problem is, cats just don't make a good ironic meme. No one ironically thinks that cats are funny. I didn't make this video on cat memes ironically, and you're not watching it ironically if you've gotten this far. But don't get me wrong, I do love a good, ironic, surreal meme. Like the "I'm sorry, John" Garfield comics where people reimagine Garfield as being a horror story. It's hard to place why the internet culture shifted to this dark, nihilistic state in the late 2010s. It could be the algorithms of sites being tuned to encourage engagement more than community. It could also just be the general culture and politics of the time feeding off of nihilism and unreality. Whatever the case, cat memes were out of fashion, and ironic memes were growing more and more absurd, stacking on layers and layers of irony until they hit a breaking point. The 2020s has been a rough decade, and I think internet culture is tired of irony. They want something familiar. They want the genuine memes back. If the 2000s had forums and image boards, the 2010s had platforms like Reddit and Twitter, what is the current driving force of internet memes? I think it's two things. The first is algorithmic content. Instead of a democracy system where you make a post and then whatever gets the most upvotes gets shown, now we have algorithmic systems that just decides what gets shown to you. It also changes how we find memes. We don't go to a site and then click on a video that looks interesting. We instead get shown videos that look interesting, or we go to a platform like TikTok and just scroll and get served videos. This dynamic changes what videos and memes become popular. Another change in internet memes is the move away from large platform sites due to the dead internet theory. Bots on the internet are nothing new. Reddit has been overrun with bots reposting content, but with the rise of Gen AI, generative comments and algo slop has become easier than ever. I think a lot of people have been worn out by public platforms like Twitter. I mean, X the everything at Blaze Your Glory. It's not just the bots. These don't feel like fun communities anymore. They feel like public spaces designed for people to argue and get mad at each other. Right now, I think a new main source of internet culture and contemporary memes are from smaller communities on Discord servers. Discord provides ways for people to create their own niche communities and lets you actually get to know the people that hang out there. It's kind of a return to how old forums felt. And with these smaller communities, new in-jokes and memes can be cultivated. They can break containment and spread to other communities. Of course, this also comes with the added drama that the old forums had, and unlike those old forums, Discord is still a platform that could ruin all of this at any moment, but in general, I think Discord has been a positive change on the landscape of the internet, and for cat memes. There's a fun Discord called D-Meowa, which is a community based around those Chinese street cat cameras. If you don't know, there's this Chinese app called Hello Street Cat that set up a bunch of these cat feeding houses to feed stray cats, as well as trap and neuter them. You can go and watch live streams of these boxes and see all the stray cats munching on food. This project created a whole community of people that catalog all of the stray cats and make lore about them. The users on the D-Meowa Discord share art and memes based on the project. It's a lot of fun. You may have seen memes from this community spread on Twitter or TikTok or other Discord servers you hang out on. Well, they all originated from this smaller community of these Hello Street Cat fans. Because of that, these memes just hit different. They're fun. It's like an in-joke that we're all in on. A lot of contemporary memes you can trace back to Discord. On October 2020, user Xavier BFB posted a video of their cat chirping to a bug on their private Discord. They also posted an edit with their cat with a huge mouth. Another user on the Discord turned it into a GIF and then posted it on the platform r/meowirl. From there, PopCat spread across all the platforms. In 2022, the meme coin PopCat was started. Today, it has a market cap of over $100 million, and Oatmeal has not seen a dime of it. On PopCat's official Instagram page, they have in their bio, the only official Instagram of Oatmeal, the PopCat, anti-crypto, and will never be affiliated or endorse any cryptocurrency. Alright, we're caught up with the present if you're watching this video when it releases. Let's zoom out and look at our timeline. I think we have a few problems here. Number 1, the cheeseburger index doesn't work in the present. While originally I thought using Google Trends would be a good way of tracking memes, this index only tracks how often people Google the meme. How often do you Google memes these days though? When in the 2010s you might have Googled Grumpy Cat to look at Grumpy Cat memes, you're not Googling Ha Cat. Ha Cat comes to you through the algorithm. Number 2, I have an American bias. While I tried to cover as many cat memes as possible, most of them tended to be American and in English. I made a post asking of any regional or non-English cat memes that I should cover. In Russia, there's a bunch of cat memes. My favorite is this one, which translates to whoosh, or like zh. It's just a wizard cat. In France, there's a few popular cat videos, many by this channel, Parole de Chat. This one's also funny, Arrêt cat. Arrêt just means stop in French. In Germany, there's this one called Uhrenrauenkatze. Uhrenrauenkatze. Which, hey, that's just an edit of Polite Cat. In Brazil, there's this one of a cat being interviewed, Gato Entrevistado. And I know I'm missing a bunch, so please leave a comment if you have any local cat memes that you think are funny. Problem number 3, what is a meme? Okay, this one's a bit difficult to articulate. Grumpy Cat is definitely a meme, but is Lil Bub a meme? I don't know, Lil Bub just feels like an industry plan. Our working definition of meme is just an idea that spreads from person to person, becoming part of the culture. But in that case, wouldn't Pusheen be a meme? Wouldn't Hello Kitty be a meme? Wouldn't Garfield be a meme? Well, Garfield can definitely be used as a meme. I don't think we can call the original Garfield comics memes. But what's the difference there? I think a meme is only a meme if it comes about organically. Garfield and Lil Bub were created and marketed to be a meme. Grumpy Cat was not. But this brings up another problem. Number 4, cat memes did not start with the internet. While cat memes feel tied to the internet, there's nothing in this definition that restricts cat memes to just be on the internet. If we want to look at the entire history of cat memes, we need to go back, before the internet. Before the internet, how could you find cat memes or watch funny cat videos? America's Funniest Home Videos was a TV show that started back in 1989 and it's still running. Hosted by Bob Saget, the show featured funny videos set in on tape by the audience, featuring wedding fails, baby videos, and, of course, cat videos. The funniest videos would win a cash prize, and it was always the baby videos that won, even if they weren't funny. It was totally rigged. Hey look, this is where Old Long Johnson came from. It's weird now seeing this meme compilation video format with VHS recordings and a live studio audience. Think about the amount of time and effort that went into recording tapes, mailing them in, physically editing the clips, and then broadcasting them to television. These days, you could just record a funny cat video on your phone, post it to TikTok, and get 1 million views all in the same day. You don't get the cash prize though. Or Bob Saget doing a funny voice over your cat. Is Daily Dose of Internet the new Bob Saget? In the 1970s, Victor Baldwin was a professional animal photographer for Cat Fancy. He and his wife Jean published a book called The Outcast Kitten, featuring their Siamese cat Sassy. One of these photos showed Sassy hanging onto a bar. Victor liked the photo, so he decided to make a poster for his office and added the caption, "Hang in there, baby." The poster went viral. Victor went from being a photographer to just selling this poster. In 1973, Vice President Spiro Agnew was in the middle of a bribery scandal, which he would later resign for. To help lift his spirits, Republican Congress members gifted him a "Hang in there, baby" poster. There's also reports that they gifted Nixon a "Hang in there, baby" poster as well during Watergate, but I couldn't find proof of that. With the popularity of the poster came bootlegs. Victor claims there was over 100 million bootleg posters created, and he tried suing everyone he could find. I won every suit. A couple of them were settlements from the biggest greeting cards and poster firms in America. What did I end up with? Enough to pay off the lawyers. I would like to make animal portraits again. It's a lot more fun than this. Victor wasn't the first artist to find a niche in making cat-based art though. Throughout history, there's been many artists working in their mediums creating cat art. In the late 1800s, Swiss artist Théophile Steinlen created cat art in the Art Nouveau scene, most famously this poster of the cabaret, Le Chat Noir. Meanwhile in London, artist Louis Wain was making a living by drawing anthropomorphized cats for children's books, postcards, advertisements, even one of the first cartoons in the 1910s, but that's lost media, unfortunately. There's a popular rumor on the internet that Louis Wain developed schizophrenia, and you could see his descent into madness on the timeline of his paintings, but this is a mischaracterization of his illness. These drawings were made in the later stages of his life, but he was still capable of drawing normal cats. This was most likely just artistic experimentation. His mental issues were possibly due to a head injury after getting hit by a bus. While he was eventually committed to an asylum, friends and fans donated to have him placed in better accommodations at Bethlehem Hospital. In response, Louis Wain released one last piece of cat art for the public. A happy cat, with the caption, "I am happy because everyone loves me." In Japan, a popular medium for art was woodblock prints. In the 1800s, these became mass-produced. One artist at the time was Utagawa Kuniyoshi, who loved cats. Many of his prints feature cats in surreal poses. One of his prints was a parody of a famous print called The 53 Stations of Tokaido, which portrayed scenes of all of the stops along Japan's main road at the time. Kuniyoshi's version depicted all the stops as cats. 9 years before Thomas Edison's film company filmed Topsy getting electrocuted, way back in 1894, one of the first cat meme videos was filmed in New Jersey, boxing cats. That same year, a French scientist, Étienne Jules produced a chronophotographic image showing the movements of a falling cat. This was published in Nature magazine with the caption, "The expression of offended dignity shown by the cat at the end of the first series indicates a want of interest in scientific investigation." Marais wasn't just tossing cats for no reason though. It was because he was investigating the meme that cats always land on their feet, which was spread around scientific communities at this time. Marais was researching the actual reasons for why this is true. These are believed to be the first cat videos, but which one is the first? Well, The Falling Cat was first published in the French scientific journal Comptes Rendus on January 2nd, 1894. Boxing Cats was dated July 1894. So it looks like Falling Cat is the first cat video. Marais should have submitted this to Funniest Home Videos, as the first cat video to win that was also a falling cat.
Cat falls from TV, sent in by Robert and Candy Schwann from Davenport, Iowa.
In the 17th and 18th centuries, painters of the Enlightenment era really did not know how to paint cats. Ugh. That's just a human nose. There is a meme of depicting cats stealing foods from kitchens. You can see this in a lot of the still life paintings around this time. London artist William Hogarth, a painter and engraver, often included cats in his works. Look, this one isn't that bad. William liked to create moralizing art for the masses, meant as a warning against immoral behaviors like being lazy or drinking gin instead of beer. In 1751, he created a series tackling that barbarous treatment of animals, the very sight of which renders the streets of a metropolis so distressing to every feeling mind. The first in the series depicts our antagonist, Tom, and all of the commoners abusing cats and dogs in horrible ways that I'm not going to show because it's really bad. In later scenes, Tom's cruelty progresses to cruelty to humans, then to murder. In the final scene, the reward for cruelty, Tom is hanged for his crimes and a dog eats his heart, because nothing justifies cruelty to animals, not even doom music. In the medieval era, mass-produced art was less common as the printing press had not been invented yet. In order to share ideas and make media, you needed to paint, by hand. In this period, monks working in monasteries was the main source of media. Scribes worked in their scriptoriums, writing and illustrating pages of manuscripts. However, these scriptoriums had a rat problem, who would eat the pages of the manuscripts they wrote, and also caused other problems. To counter these, the monks employed cats as mousers who would catch and eat the rats, protecting the books from harm. And there's proof of it. Here's a manuscript that has paw prints from a cat who must have stepped in some ink and then walked across it. The medieval version of a cat walking across her keyboard. There's also tons of illustrations and descriptions in medieval bestiaries describing how useful cats were for catching mice in farms and being used on ships. Also, here's a cat badge from the 15th century. The caption below is believed to mean, "Behold, a mouse." In the 9th century, an Irish monk wrote a poem for his cat, Pengurbon, in his notebook. It translates to, "I and Pengurbon, my cat, 'tis a like task we are at. Hunting mice is his delight. Hunting words I said tonight. Better far the praise of men, 'tis to sit with book and pen. Pengur bears me no ill will, he too plies his simple skill. 'Tis a merry thing to see, at our tasks how glad are we, when at home we sit and find entertainment to our mind. Oftentimes a mouse will stray in the hero Pengur's way. Oftentimes my key thought set takes a meaning in its net. 'Gainst the wall he sets his eye, full and fierce and sharp and sly. 'Gainst the wall of knowledge I all my little wisdom try. When a mouse darts from its den, oh how glad is Pengur then. Oh what gladness do I prove, when I solve the doubts I live. So in peace our tasks we ply, Pengurbon, my cat and I. In our arts we find our bliss, I have mine and he has his. Practice every day has made Pengur perfect in his trade. I get wisdom day and night, turning darkness into light." In other words, the type of person that likes to stay at home and post all day was more likely to have a chill cat to hang out with. The monks also like to doodle cat images on the edges of their manuscripts. Here's a cat dressed up like a nun. Here's another one with a cool hat. Here's a cat defending their castle from a rat siege. Snail cat. Snail cat. Plotting. Here's one with a jetpack. Another one with a jetpack. And another cat with a jetpack. Why are there so many cats with jetpacks? According to historian Mitch Frass, these images originate from the 16th century artillery master Franz Helm of Cologne, who wrote a treatise on siege warfare. The plan was you'd capture a cat from a castle and then tie a burning pot to its back and then let it run back into the castle, burning it to the ground. While cruel and unrealistic, this idea must have been funny enough to stick around and become a meme. Also, I know it doesn't seem like it, but I've cut out a bunch of the animal cruelty from the script. There's a lot of animal cruelty in history. For example, during the witch trials, black cats were stigmatized and associated with devil worship. This dates back to Pope Gregory IX, who in the 13th century launched an inquisition into all of these heretics in Germany. He sent a DM to some priests in Germany describing some of the rituals these cultists like to perform, one of which was worshipping a black cat. No proof of this, but the stigma stuck. Black cats were associated with devil worship, witches, and bad luck. This negative cat meme still persists to this day. Black cats have the lowest adoption rate of cats in shelters. There's a popular story that gets repeated on the internet that the plague was caused by this fear of cats, that the Pope ordered all the cats to be killed and the rats swarmed the cities and brought the Black Plague.
Many of the plagues were from a flea. The flea would get infected and would bite you and you'd get the plague. Where did the fleas come from? We would later learn they came from rats and mice. If you owned a cat, you didn't have mice.
So you didn't get the plague.
You didn't get the plague. Who owned cats? Well, there are many women that own cats.
So women didn't get the plague and they were therefore sorcerers.
They were witches.
Damn.
Witches.
And some of them are.
And you still associate a cat with a witch to this day. So this is what happens when you live in a pre-scientific era.
This is not true. There is no record of mass cat calling happening. This theory seems to originate from the book Classical Cats, The Rise and Fall of the Sacred Cat, which implies that the Black Plague was caused by cat calling, but yeah, there's not really any record of cat calling happening. Also, we have all these accounts of monks who had cats. This book was a good reference for later sections of this video. I don't want to cancel it like Grumpy Cat. It just takes a few liberties when it comes to the medieval ages. Another internet rumor that gets repeated from Islamic culture is that the Prophet Muhammad had a cat named Mu'izza. One day Mu'izza was sleeping on his robe, so he cut his sleeve off to let it keep napping. While that's a sweet story, there's no proof of this cat existing. Cats are popular in Muslim culture though, since they're considered clean in Islamic law. They're allowed in mosques and to sleep on prayer mats. There's a ton of them in Istanbul. Cats were introduced to Asia through the Silk Road. Buddhist scrolls were also being eaten by rats, so they used cats to protect them, just like the monks in Europe. Perhaps that's why cats are so likely to become memes. Cats themselves spread across the world because they protected media and documents. One of the longest lasting cat memes is Maneki Neko, Lucky Cat. It's disputed what the actual origins of these ceramic cats are. Some say it's from Tokyo or Kyoto, the 16th century, maybe the 17th. There's also a bunch of origin stories. One legend is that in the Edo period, the feudal lord Lee Naotaka was out traveling and he saw a cat at a temple gate beckoning him. He stopped to rest at the temple and then a thunderstorm suddenly appeared, but since he was chilling with the cat, he was protected from the rain. How lucky. This beckoning motion is something that cats actually do when rubbing their ears. Cats can sense changes in humidity and barometric pressure in their triangle ears. Because of this weather predicting capability, cats are also strongly associated in folklore with rain. In Cambodia and Thailand, there's a tradition, Procession of the Lady Cat, where the idea was that cats meow when it rains because they don't want to get wet. So maybe if they got a cat to meow, it would cause it to rain. So they parade a cat around in a basket and then splash water at it. These days, they do the tradition with fake cats. As we go back even further into the ancient world, records get harder to find. Only the strongest memes have been preserved. The ancient Romans didn't really have cats, they were dog people. Also, they used ferrets for pest control. But the ancient Egyptians loved cats. They were the ones that tamed wildcats in the first place. From around 1400 BCE onwards, we start to see domestic cats appearing in ancient Egyptian art. But the remains of domestic cats have been found dating back to 3000 to 4000 BCE. Cats are commonly depicted in art sitting underneath chairs. This iconography depicts them as being part of the family, kind of like those stickers you see in the back of minivans. Later Egyptian art shows cats as being part of the divine. The Egyptians didn't worship cats per se, but they did view them as being part of life as a whole, and some gods like Bastet were depicted as anthropomorphized cats. The Greeks linked Bastet with their own OC, Artemis. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus wrote down his accounts of Egyptian culture in around 450 BCE. If a cat dies in a private house by a natural death, all of the inmates of the house shave their eyebrows. When cats die, they are taken to the city of Probast, where they are embalmed, after which they are buried in certain sacred repositories. Archaeologists have found hundreds of thousands of cat mummies in Egypt. In the middle of the Sahara Desert, there's a large plateau called Masak Satefet. The plateaus are etched by long dried up riverbeds. This area was once a lush savanna after the last ice age. On these cliffs are thousands of engravings, possibly dating back to 10,000 years. On an outcrop near the top of one cliff is a giant etching of two cats standing on their hind legs and fighting. 4 ostriches watch in the background. World Star. We don't know much about these fighting cats besides just guesswork. These could be mythical beings or just dramatized depiction of wildlife. While this etching is impressive, what impresses me more is another etching nearby. Although in not as prominent a location, this one is more special to me. It's a copy of the 2 fighting cats. This shows that the etching wasn't just a one-off, but an idea that was spread and shared. The people that etched these carvings wanted their ideas and impressions of the world to be preserved and understood by others. It's a cat meme. So, now that we have a full timeline, let's see if we can predict the future of cat memes. Throughout history, cat memes have adapted to the ways we communicate and share information. So how are we going to communicate in the future? The current bubble, trend in technology is generative artificial intelligence. Apple has their own vision of what a future cat meme could look like.
No need to engineer the perfect prompt. In a few seconds, you'll see Apple Intelligence creates a preview of what your image could look like. A moment later, you'll see more previews you can swipe through. This all happens on device.
Okay, that kind of sucks. I'm not really convinced that Gen AI can produce memes themselves. Sure, there has been Gen AI memes like the latest Studio Ghibli plagiarism meme, that in my opinion looks like what someone who's never seen a Ghibli movie thinks a Ghibli movie looks like, but the content it's producing itself isn't a meme. Okay, there are a lot of Algoslop AI cat story videos on YouTube Shorts meant to capture all of that child ad revenue money. Okay, maybe this does count as a meme, but I just think it sucks. What about a different vision of the future? The metaverse. Well, VR has been around for a while, and besides VR chat, the dream of 3D cyberspace environments hasn't really taken place. At least not Meta's version of one. The community-based platform of VR chat does seem to be going strong, but what would a metaverse cat meme look like? I think the best example right now is Maxwell the cat. In 2017, user VoidHawk42 posted an image to Imager. Cat does not care about the laws of man. The cat's actual name is Jess. 5 years later, a mod was uploaded to Gary's mod by Steam user Bean, featuring a 3D model of this cat titled Dingus. Yes, this was the first appearance of this model on the internet. Not Sketchfab, not Roblox, or any other stuff. I thought it was so bad that I just spit it out on Workshop with this exact name and made 0 updates to the model since. Where did I find that image? Some guys were sharing it around on Discord. Another user, Scott Rim, made a mod where you can carry the cat around and renamed it to Maxwell. Maxwell is an interesting cat meme because it's a 3D model that is just free for anyone to use, allowing it to be shared in games like Voices of the Void and VR chat. Twitter user Belasticat posted a GIF of the 3D model just spinning around. You may have seen the ooh-ee-ah cat meme that's been going around. This also uses the same spinning Maxwell 3D model, just with a different cat texture based off this cat named Ethel. To me, this is a more hopeful vision of the future of cat memes. People sharing photos of their cats, other people editing them into 3D models, making mods for games, adding them to VR worlds, making GIFs and videos and music. Memes aren't just internet jokes, they're this. Ideas and humor that grows from the hands of multiple people over time, sharing and adding their own ideas to create something new. It's impossible to know what the future will look like, but as long as there's ways for people to communicate with each other, they will always find ways to post silly cats. A lot of this video came from research I did when making my indie game Kitten Burst, which, if you liked this video, you will definitely like that game. It's an RPG racing game set in the early 2000s internet where you play as a flying cat named Happy. And Happy isn't just any racing cat. They're me. Also, I'm still working on Gangstalk. That's my upcoming game. You can wishlist it now, link in the description. More game dev videos coming in the pipeline for that, so stay tuned, stay subscribed if you want to see those. Yeah, hopefully more news this summer. I'm working on it. Okay, one last cat meme. Have you heard the Sad Cat song? It's a cover of What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish, except it's all meows. It was created by the Bongo Cat channel, which itself was a cat meme. This cover spread like wildfire across TikTok and got to the point where people were meowing at Billie Eilish at her concerts, which, that's rude, don't do that. But this song reminded me of the song Nya 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 Nya, so I wanted to end this video with a version of my song Slowblink, but with all nyas from the original vocal synthesizer sound, which proved really difficult to track down. I reached out to my buddy Audio, who got me in contact with Painted CZ and Zrui, who are experts in the Utak community. Together, they were able to track down the exact voice bank that was used for the Nyan Cat song. Momone Mono Chibi Plus from 2009. It was an exact match. So, Miss Momo, can you play us off? Kabuki, do you have anything to add?
Huh?
Thank you, sir. Mitzi, do you have anything to add? The mic won't reach. Thank you, Miss Mitzi.